Hi everyone. Today I would like to discuss on Gradle versus Maven. So at the end of this discussion, you will be able to understand uh, either Gradle or Maven, which is the best build tool to use for your application. So to start with my discussions, I have created two projects here. So one project is in Gradle and other project is in Maven. So we'll simply go through what's the project structure for Maven. So the project structure for Maven contains the SRC, main Java, and resources and test Java. So this is the folder structure that we need to follow for the Maven. So the main configuration file that we have for Maven is basically the pom.xml. So the pom.xml will contain the project information as well as the dependencies that are being used for this application. Along with the dependencies, the plugins, the build plugins, so that are required for this application. Plugins are the Maven builds happens majorly with the plugin configuration. So Maven supports for the different types of plugins which are available across the market, so across the world. So this is the sample structure. So I have created the web project on the Spring Boot based application. So this is the structure that I have, and these are the dependencies that were imported for the basic application. And there are different Java class files that are created, the Spring Boot application file, and the resource file, which are the application resources, application properties, which is actually the configuration file that we have. So the similar kind of an application which I have created in the Gradle. So this is also follows the same folder structure that we have seen for the Maven. And for the Gradle case, this same Spring Boot application we have, and we have the same application properties and same set of Java classes, that test classes that we have. So in case of Gradle projects, these are the two major files, Gradle files that are required. One is the build.gradle. Build.gradle actually contains the dependencies, whatever is the dependencies that we have, as well as the plugins. So the plugins is actually imported here. So the Spring Boot plugin and dependency management plugin, those are the two plugins that we have imported into the application. So, and here are the application dependencies. And the settings.gradle will contain the different settings that we have for this particular application. So as of now, the basic thing that we have configured here is the project name, root project name. So that is the Spring Boot Gradle. So this is the different structure and different the same application with the two different build tools that I have built. And so to build the application within your local environment, so probably what we do normally is we'll go, in case of a Spring based application, sorry, Maven based application, we actually go to Runize, and if I want to build, I can go for Maven build. So in case of Maven build, I can set the goals. So I can set the goals, and this will go and build the Maven based application. So during the Maven build, it actually compiles the code first, then it will execute the after compilation, it will run the JUnit test cases, and after all the test cases are completed successfully, then it will actually generate the jar or var file for the application that we are building. So as I mentioned earlier, here is the test case execution. So different tests are executing for the Spring based application, and it is at the end it is trying to create a jar file for a deployment. So Spring Boot Maven, the jar file that is created, and this is the jar file that will be used uh, for the deployment purpose. If you consider this, it took almost 42 seconds to build a simple basic application. So when it comes to the Gradle, so at the same time, I would like to also build the Gradle application. So in case of Gradle application, I'm just going and building it. And Gradle build, the best thing with the Gradle is actually the operation that we have. So basically, it shows what exactly happening within the build. So within the build successfully. So if you see here, JRE contains the valid JDK installation. Let me change the JRE to JDK so that this will work. I'm just changing to workspace default JDK, and I'm closing it, and I'm just building it again. As you have observed, the build happened for the Maven based application took valid JDK installation. Valid JDK installation. When I successfully build the application using the Gradle, the application has built in 5 seconds. So the same thing that I have used is I just clicked in the build option. So the build option took just 5 seconds for me to. So this time it's only 4 seconds. So the Gradle build is more faster when compared to the Maven build. So Maven build, if we take the Maven build, it took almost 42 seconds to build a simple, the basic Spring Boot application. So if we actually go through the documentation, so basically if we compare the performance results of for Maven versus Gradle, so there are different types of, so if the Maven takes 26 seconds and the Gradle is taking only the 14 seconds. So if we have for this clean build with test, clean build with cache, if Maven takes 3.25 seconds, Gradle is just taking the 0.6568 seconds. So this is the overall graph that we have. So coming to the performance, the Gradle will have the very better performance compared to the Maven when you build your application. And coming to the other point as well, so it is very difficult if you choose the Maven. Maven has the pom.xml here, so you might be more comfortable if you are using your application for Maven for more than a year or two. But basically, if you start using Gradle, so configuring the dependencies within the build at Gradle is very easy, and it is actually easily understandable. So there are, if we compare to Maven, there are different advantages if we go with Gradle. So one is the flexibility. So Gradle is more flexible to use, and it is also supports the native application development like C, C++, and all. So performance, we have already seen the performance with a sample programs. So and the performance results if you go with the Gradle is very high. The user experience perspective, so when you see the build tool, so the user experience for a Gradle is actually, so if you see this, Gradle will, everything will be displayed in a tasks manner, and it's easy to understand where exactly it's failed. But at the same time, when you go with Maven, the Maven itself takes lot of time to build, and everything will come in console, and which user has to go to a particular line and understand where exactly it is failed. So that is the reason. So the user experience perspective, Gradle is more advanced compared to the Maven. And yeah, as I discussed, the dependency management is also very easy in Gradle, and compared to the Maven. So Maven, it's kind of a huge XML file which will have, when you have a bigger projects, complex projects, you might be writing an pom.xml for thousands of lines, and it's very hard to see the dependencies, or it's very hard to go for an exclusion marking as well. Whereas if you go with the Gradle, so it's a single line statement for each and every dependency. So if you take compared to the pom.xml, so the lines will reduce from, so the single line will be equivalent to the 5 lines that we write in the pom.xml. So which means if you have a 2000 lines of code, lines of pom.xml, that will convert into the only less than 500 lines in Gradle. So that is the one of the best advantage that we have. So to conclude, basically what I would say, like, so Maven is mostly used across the world for all Java-based development applications. Though it is a big, it has its own advantages, but compared to Maven, Gradle is having more advantages, and it's easy for you to migrate your applications to the uh, Gradle, your Maven based applications to the Gradle. So that we will discuss in another video. But at this point of time, I would like to cover, like, compared to Maven, Gradle is the best tool to choose when you are building your complex applications. That's what I want to cover in this video, and thank you for watching. Have a good day.